Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. I'm sitting here at my gear table in my little YouTube room, and we're gonna talk about gear. I haven't been talking about gear as much lately, and I don't know. I kind of miss it. Maybe you guys kind of miss it too. So we're gonna do a good old-fashioned EDC video today. EDC, for those that don't know, stands for everyday carry. These are the things that I carry every day, and I'm primarily gonna be talking about stuff that I carry in my pockets every single day of my life. So if you're into that, continue watching. A lot of guys are into EDC. A lot of guys are into gear. Like, I really like seeing a guy who has a dialed EDC. I like watching videos of a guy that has a really dialed truck setup. I've been watching a bunch of van stuff. I like watching when people have very dialed van setups, and I especially like when they talk about why they have it and why it works for them, because I'm like, okay, this guy actually didn't just buy some random thing off Amazon and says he uses it every day. He's actually using it every day. So we'll talk a little bit of philosophy and stuff, why I carry what I carry, why it works for me, and you can take and do whatever you want with that information. I'll put some chapters down below. I'll kind of be structured in some type of order. I'm going to be talking about my EDC, which hasn't changed much through the years. So if you've watched previous of my EDC videos, probably a lot of this stuff's going to look familiar. But that's a good thing. If you're watching a guy and his EDC changes all the time, he's either just starting out to like learn about gear and knives and carrying every day and kind of figuring out what works for him, which is fine. Everyone's got to figure it out. But if they've been doing that forever, I don't know, something's wrong with them. So my EDC hasn't changed much. But for those of you gear nerds out there, have no fear, because I have a table filled, like I have dozens of knives here and a bunch of flashlights. I got all kinds of gear. So I'm going to be talking about some other options, like if I didn't carry what I carry, or these are things that I sometimes carry, or these are like runners up. So I'm going to talk about a lot of other gear and why it might work for you. I will put chapters down below, so feel free to skip ahead to whatever you find interesting. I don't even mind. I'll link to everything down below. Not a single company has paid me to be in this video. There's no video sponsors from any of these companies or anything like that. So it's all just unbiased stuff. I've bought probably about half the stuff on the table. Half of it was sent for free. I don't remember this or that. That never factors into my opinion, honestly, because I just like good gear and I'm happy to pay for it. But if I can get it for free, I'll get it for free, and I don't know why you wouldn't. So yeah, links down below. As always, LLOD.us/coupons is where I have a bunch of coupons, affiliate links, all that stuff. If you feel like supporting the channel, this free information I give you guys, check that out. Cool. So let's get into it. All right, so I like to keep it pretty simple here. Did you think those were full size? I don't know. I was digging through some gear just to check out some things and came across these little minis that I don't actually carry, but I thought they were kind of fun. This is whatever, some B2 knife, Bomber and Company. Look at this thing. It's tiny and fun. This is a tiny little functional Olight flashlight. Look at that. And this is a Glock keychain, Glock 17. It's very nice. Very nice. Okay, I don't know why I felt like showing that. Oh, I remember why. So this is what I use sometimes when I travel. It's a Leatherman style PS. And I say when I travel, I mean when I travel on a plane, because there is no knife on this. So this is TSA friendly. Little set of pliers, little scissors here, little set of tweezers, and a little nail file. So if you're looking for a little multi-tool, if you're like me and you're like, man, I feel naked without like a tool and being able to fix something, this is a nice little travel companion to have. Cool. So let's just get into my EDC. It starts with a good pair of pants, honestly. So pants, you need pockets, right? To carry this gear, to carry it effectively and comfortably. Don't mind my weird tucked in shirt. I'm just trying to get stuff out of the way for you. But these are the Vertex Delta Stretch, my favorite pants, honestly, forever, and I've tested a lot of pants. So they're back in stock now. I do have a coupon code, so it saves you 20% off of everything at vertex.com. It's just last line, but I'll put that down below as well. But pocket orientation and layout. So basically it has standard back pockets here, and then this extra kind of mag pocket. That's where I keep my flashlight. I keep it in my left hand, my left pocket rather, so I can access it with my left hand, so I can use my right hand to go to gun or do whatever. And just, I'm kind of in the habit of using that with my left hand. because my right hand does a lot of other stuff. In the right mag pocket, I keep my Skeletal because that's often the times I'm opening boxes and stuff with. So right pocket, Skeletal. And then I just have my phone here, nothing else in this pocket, so it never gets scratched up or anything like that. And then in here I have my wallet and chapstick and my key usually. So I really like pocket separation. These pants are super comfortable, pockets laid out really well. Also have pockets down lower if you want to put even more gear, or if you prefer to carry this at a lower spot on your body. I kind of like up high because I'm often wearing jackets and stuff, and that'll actually cover this to where you don't even see it at all. And you can sit down comfortably and everything because nothing is on your butt. And the wallet, it's a front pocket wallet, so nothing back here. Sweet. And then I can still carry a gun. Obviously, it's been here in your face for a bit, and a good belt. So this is the EDC Hybrid. I sell this on my site, so it's LLOD.us/belt. But this is my favorite belt of all time. Blue Alpha makes it. I hit up Blue Alpha because I loved it so much, and was like, I want to sell this belt on my site. Can I? And they're like, yeah, and we're homies. And so you can buy this. It's a special LLOD edition. Has a little LLOD inside label. So it's just good, solid belt. And that's necessary, really, if you're going to carry a concealed carry handgun. It is the best method, fully supportive, and comfort. So I have my holster here, bends with me, moves with me, the most comfortable holster you'll ever have. But I'll talk more about all of these things right now. So I've had this exact Leatherman Skeletal now for probably 7 or 8 years. And it's a special Leatherman because it has a Valyrian steel. No, not Valyrian. It has a Damascus steel blade. It's actually actual Damascus. It's not like that topo texture fake Damascus one that was sold at REI, I think, for a little bit. This was like from Texas Tool Crafters or something. I don't think they sell it anymore. But this was a special edition Leatherman Skeletal CX. The CX just has a little better steel in the standard blade and a little carbon fiber here. But this is just... I'm a guy who tinkers a lot. I work on things and I fix things and I build things and I'm just tweaking things all the time. So having this on me, I use it. I mean, I don't just use this every day. I use this probably 20 times a day. Naturally, I'll use the knife quite a bit. So this is just an easy to access knife. You pull it out of your pocket. It has a pocket clip here and you can access your knife. And it's not the best knife in the world. It's not that tactical, and it's not, it's not a knife I would choose to take into a knife fight with me or anything. But for opening up Amazon boxes and for prying things and doing just general duty knife tasks, it works just fine. And the belt clip, I've bent it so many times, snagging it on this and that, but you basically take it out with a little Torx, and then I'll bend it back and put it back in, and it's good to go. Belt clips, it's all right, nothing too special. Bottle opener, very nice. Now I use this at parties or get-togethers or weddings or whatever all the time. I don't pop open a whole lot of bottles at home, so I'm not using this feature every day, but anytime there's a bottle and anytime my friends know that I'm around, they're like, oh, Mike's got a bottle opener on him. And I always do, because I'm kind of that guy that also has pliers, screwdriver, everything on him. So basically, a lot of my friends know me as this guy, and so like anytime they need something, they're like, oh, Mike's got it. And instead of having me as your friend so you can have that on tap, you can just be that guy. So anyway, tools, bottle opener, pliers. Pliers I use a surprising amount, and I use needle nose pliers more often than I would use like big, thick, regular pliers. So these are nice if I just need to, like, in a pinch. I have a bunch of tools. I have all the tools that I could ever want. Well, I always want more tools. But in the moment, if I just need to tighten something or grab something or whatever, the tool that you have on you works great. And I don't have to get up and go find the right tool and go back to whatever I was doing. And I use that with the pliers, wire cutters, but I almost use more often this little screwdriver on the end here. So a lot of times, say I'll just go and I'll open a doorknob and it's a little bit loose. So I'll be like, oh, I'll pull this out and I'll just tighten it on the spot. Whereas if I had to go and run and find my screwdriver, I say find kind of loosely. I know where all my screwdrivers are. But if I had to go down, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll do that later. And then I'll forget about it and I won't do it. So having it on me is really, really great. Now this has a dual-sided bit right here that has a Phillips on one and a flathead on the other. This was from, I think, a Leatherman MUT tool that had that specialty bit that I basically stole it and put it into my EDC. And the other one, I have a Torx. And this is a Torx. This is a T20 and a T25. So this I'll use in a pinch if I need to tighten or loosen an Allen head, because this will fit in there. It's not the right tool for the job, and I wouldn't recommend that all the time. But once in a while, if you need to in a pinch, you can. So I find this T20, T25, the kind of the most common other used bit. So I keep that in the little bit storage tool here. And that basically rounds out the Skele-Tool. When you're using the pliers, you use it like this. So this curved part goes into the palm of your hands and your fingers go here. And you can actually get a pretty good amount of leverage there. It kind of has this thicker portion here, and that's what's going right into your hand. And it works surprisingly well. Anyway, Leatherman Skele-Tool, surprisingly well-priced little gadget for what it does. And you'll be the guy that all your other friends are like, oh, that guy has the tools on him all the time. Now they have them in other colors and stuff. This is one actually. Occasionally when I travel, when I fly, let's see if we can get to focus. So occasionally when I travel or when I fly and I don't feel like checking a bag, I will like order something on Amazon and have it shipped to the hotel or a nearby Amazon storage locker. So that way I have a knife or a tool on hand. And I don't do that often. I don't ball so hard that I do that all the time. But sometimes when I just don't want to check a bag, if maybe I'm somewhere for 24 hours, I'll either buy like a cheap knife at a gas station or I'll plan ahead and get something nice. So this is one. This is a cool little color scheme. I actually bought this when I was up going to a friend's wedding, and I gave myself a prepaid envelope. I brought it with me so I could just ship it back home after I was done. And no joke, while I was at the wedding, it was at his house, I used the knife, the bottle opener, the screwdriver, and the pliers all there. So it was kind of nice that I had it. Anyway, a bunch of different color schemes and stuff. This is just kind of I'm gonna use it until it just breaks or I lose it, because it's kind of, doesn't really have any sentimental value to me, but I've just like had it for so long. Anyway, Skele-Tool. So what pairs really nicely with the Leatherman Skele-Tool is the Leatherman bit kit. Now this bit kit has a lot of bits. How many? 10 with 2 bits on each side, 20. So it has 40 bits plus a little tiny like glasses screwdriver here. So like a tiny Phillips and a tiny flathead at the end that you use like a little, you use it basically like a toothpick. This little guy, I don't know if you knew that it came with that, but a tiny one as well. It's pretty sharp though. So I carry this, and I don't carry this in my pocket, but I have like 10 of these probably. And I bought every single one of them. Leatherman, I don't think has sent me, maybe they sent me a pair of Raptor shears once, but I bought all this stuff and I love it so much that I buy a bunch of it. And so I basically have a bit kit in every car, in every bag, and everything, because I always have this on me. I always have the Skele-Tool, and that basically turns this into like a full-on toolkit. So a surprisingly good amount of bits. I kind of wish they wouldn't put so many flatheads in there and they'd replace it with some square bits or something, or some specialty bits, but a really nice selection of bits in a super compact. This thing is smaller than the Skele-Tool itself, basically. So I really like having that as an add-on. I'll be talking about a bunch of like different knife options and stuff later in the video, but we're just gonna get through my EDC right now. So then the other thing I carry every day is the Olight Warrior Mini. Now some people hate on Olights and some people think they're great, and you know, I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't think everything they make is great, but this light specifically is my favorite EDC flashlight of all time. They don't even sell this one anymore because there is some danger issues, like it gets really hot, so it has a really, really bright light, and this is super hot. It could burn you, literally. They updated that with this one, so that way when it's on like full turbo mode and your hand gets too close to it, it dims down. I don't know if you can kind of tell, but basically it senses, it has a little sensor built in, and it won't burn you anymore. But it's a little bit bigger. a little bit bigger because of that sensor than the old one. So I still use the old one. I haven't burnt myself yet or anything. But let me tell you why this light is so good. No, Olight didn't pay me to be in this video. They didn't do anything. I have affiliate accounts though, but like with every company in the world, Olight included. But what I like about this flashlight is the form factor. So it's perfectly sized to, when you want to use it in a tactical mode like this, extend out in your hand. So it's not overly large and jutting out, and it's not too small like you have something like a MicroStream, which I do like, but that kind of, it gets kind of lost in your hand. You kind of got to manipulate it. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen upside down, so my motions are all kind of weird. Anyway, perfect size for me to use in like more tactical applications. And the thing that I like is the tail cap. It's magnetic. It's a magnetic tail cap. So if you have a metallic object, it'll stick to it. And I use this because I'm around vehicles a lot, around metal a lot. And it's nice just to be able to stick that and use it as a lantern. So one feature I really like. The other feature I really like is this dual mode tail cap. Surefire has some lights like this that I really like, but basically you can press it halfway for like a pretty good intensity and then all the way for basically turbo full blast mode. And I like that because if I don't need full blast, then I can kind of manage this little half press that I need for this. And it has momentary and always on as well, so you can tap it and it's on, or you can just momentary and then as soon as you let go, it turns off. What I like is because you can press it full, boom, full power. So that way if I'm in a setting where I just need full power, I don't have to think about anything. I don't need to think about triple clicking it or cycling through modes or anything. I just know full power is at my disposal whenever I want. And this thing has a ton of output for this size. Insane amount of output for the size. What I like that this light has specifically though is also a side switch here. The side switch which does also show you the battery level. So green for good, yellow for it's getting low, red for it's really low. You gotta charge me quick. The reason I like this side switch is because then you can get to the different modes. I usually have the side switch on the lowest mode so that way this is enough light to do almost everything I need to for more administrative type tasks. And then you hold it and it cycles through the 3 different settings basically. So this lower mode does really well. Has kind of not really a secret or hidden mode, but if you hold this button, it goes to moonlight or firefly mode, which is even dimmer. You can hardly see it in this light right now. It's like 2 lumens or something, lasts for 10 years when it's on. But I like this mode when I'm don't want to disturb someone at night, but I need to illuminate something. This mode comes in really handy. I use it more often than you would ever imagine. So tons of features in a compact, perfect form light. Some of the other lights get bigger at the end to house a different type of diffuser, different kind of bulb, different heating or cooling elements in here. And this I like because it's just basically a straight barrel. So it carries very well in the pocket. I'll get to some other options. Again, I'm kind of going to cover the other options at the end of the video. But good form factor, pocket clip works really well. It has the reverse pocket clip so you can kind of put it on your hat as a headlamp, use as a pinch if you want. Magnetic rechargeable light, but you can also swap batteries in it if you need to like carry an extra for whatever reason. I have bent and unbent this clip a number of times, and you just squeeze it, get it back if you need to. You know, has a little tiny little kind of striking bezel. Anyway, good light all around, has never let me down. It's relatively beat up, but I've dropped it quite a bit and it keeps running. So it's been good to me and can highly recommend. Then I'm kind of a minimalist, so I don't have any like keychains or anything. I have too many vehicles at this point, but all the keys basically look like this. It's just the fob or the key. I use my garage door opener, or my front door has a code, or maybe I have keys hidden somewhere if I need them. But basically, all I ever really need for the day-to-day is my key. So I don't like carrying around a big keychain or anything like that. So pretty minimal. Little key fob. This is like an older one, but they sell some newer ones. Running for Tacos, I think, sells some. I'll link them down below. And then I carry a wallet, one of the cheapest wallets that you'll find anyone use. This is a Travax. I've been using it for a long time. I've tried a bunch of other wallets. There's some other ones that are like pretty comparable in use, but I just kind of, there's something like this, the metal's getting kind of worn a little bit around the edges, and it's, I don't know, getting a little bit of character, I guess, but basically a little piece of metal, and then a little adjustable strap here so you can adjust it to the amount of cards that you're gonna carry. I have like 7 or 8 cards in here. I have a Home Depot card on the outside just to remind myself to use it, because this has been in my wallet for a while and I keep on forgetting to use it when I go there. And also so you don't see my information. In the back, I have a Costco card, but normally in the back I have my driver's license because that's what I need to get out. So the 2 cards on the outside are the easiest, quickest to access basically. So I'll keep my most used credit card on the outside so I can just pop that out when I need it, and my driver's license on the back. All the cards in the middle take a little bit more effort to get to, but it's still pretty easy to kind of fan them out here and get to it if you want. I do have a little bit of cash, basically a 20 or 2 20s, or maybe a 50. I don't know if I'm feeling like a baller. Kind of wedged in here for just in case, kind of emergency cash money fund. And that's it. Very small wallet. You see the footprint of the wallet is basically that of the cards. Has a little hook here. You could put a carabiner on or something. I've never used that for anything in my life. But Travax, made in America, super minimal wallet. I do get questions sometimes saying like, oh, don't you scratch up your cards or this or that? No, if you watch my pants reviews videos, which you should, the pants I choose have pocket layout. It's the biggest, most important thing for me. Have a great pocket layout, and so I have pocket separation. So my wallet is usually with a chapstick, and that's it. This is a Palmer's coconut oil formula. Palmer's makes this like epic, legendary like hand cream for like if you get like just gnarly, if you're working out in the cold, dry, and you just get like gnarly, just crunched up hands. Palmer's makes like the only stuff that really works for it. And they also make chapsticks. So I'll usually keep this. This is in my right front pocket, and it's not really scratching anything up. So yeah. And then I have a cell phone. This is just the iPhone 13 Pro, kind of whatever, but the, oh look, Ashley. And Jake, Lucid Wraps. My van's getting wrapped right now. This has a mag back case. This is one I found, I bought. I don't have any association with them, but it has a magnet built in, so you can just stick it to stuff. Again, I got this knife out here, but it'll just like stick to things and can hold itself up. Oh, turn my camera on. And yeah, I like that. I like that it can just stick to metal things. And then I carry a gun on me, and lately I've been carrying a 43X primarily. So this is kind of what I was carrying for a while, just a standard 43X. It's got a set of, I cleared these beforehand, so don't worry about it. It's got a set of Ameriglow, I forget what, eye dots, or they're similar to the Trijicon HDs where they just have the big orange front. Let's see if we can get some focus on here where I need it. Anyway, big orange front dot, and just basically this one just has the line in the rear. The Trijicon HDs have nothing in the rear. I think I like the eye dots just a little bit more. So swap out the sights, and basically everything else is bone stock. I have a bunch of these actually. So sometimes I'm using them with the stock OEM mags. Sometimes I'm using them with the Shield S15 mags. So this is what I was carrying for a while. I do make and sell holsters. I own a holster company, for those that don't know. It's LLOD.US. I make an appendix carry holster. The best holsters in the business, ergonomic, bend, comfortable, move with you. I have a whole holster video. I'll link to it up in one of these corners if you're interested. But 43X has been my jam for a while. It's just, I shoot it really well. It's super comfortable. It carries really nicely. It's just reliable. It's just, I really like the gun. Recently, somewhat recently anyways, the TLR7 subcompact has come out. I make holsters for those now, if you're wondering. This is a TLR7 subcompact on a Glock 48 actually, so this is the longer slide, Glock 48 MOS. I do prefer the 43X MOS, which is what I usually carry, but I'm just kind of testing comfort levels and stuff on the 48 for a while, so I've been carrying the 48 with the TLR7 sub. And yeah, again, these guns are kind of cleared. I just grabbed some random mags to throw in for them. So this guy right here is a very, very nice setup, especially with the S15 mags. You get 15 round capacity and a Glock 48. So very slim, very comfortable, very good to shoot. And this one isn't one that it's not really a tricked out one. This is actually bone stock. It's an MOS. I haven't even changed out the sights, man. But it does have the TLR7 sub on it, which I really like. I did a review of the TLR7 when it first came out, and I was like, man, this light would be a home run if they had better switches, but the switches suck so bad. They need to fix them. And they fixed them with the TLR7A. The TLR7 sub brings those across as well. So really good switches. I like these chunkier ones here because it kind of lines up perfectly with the thumb. I mean, not perfectly. My thumb's a little further out, but rests very nice here with the thumb, but then also easy access with the finger if you want as well. So really huge fan of the TLR7 subcompact, and I think this package right here, and the 48's a little bit longer than the TLR7 sub. The 43X MOS is a little bit shorter. So the TLR7, if you request it in the 43X standard, it's cut a little bit shorter here, so you do lose a little bit of length on the holster, and it's a tiny little bit more comfortable for me anyway. But I do make it in 48 length as well if you prefer the 48 model. So yeah, that is, these two have kind of been my EDC for a bit now. This was actually the first final prototype for the 43X. And this was the first final prototype for the TLR7 sub, so I just kind of use it. It's kind of unfinished. I didn't even like finish sanding it. It's kind of rough around the edges. I don't really care as much about that, but I make my holsters super high quality and polished edges and gorgeous. But the holsters I carry myself are like half finished always. But that's what I carry for a gun. And then yeah, so guns, if you're not into guns, that's cool, whatever. But I, have my concealed carry, legally carry a gun for the best way to defend myself and my loved ones. So personal choice, but if you don't carry a gun, if you're anti-gun or whatever, I know like I used to do a lot more gun stuff on the channel. I haven't done as much anymore just because I kind of got bored of the videos, but definitely didn't get bored of guns. But personal preference, but I'm going to do some more kind of gun philosophical type videos on the gun channel here in a bit, and probably a full review of the TLR7 compared to the Surefire XSC, which is also another nice little light option for these, and yeah, you can be looking for that later. And some other things I use every day, you guys see this a lot. Ooh, look at that, you can see my light setup. Ooh, shiny. These are Magpul, these are the Explorers. These are my favorite sunglasses. They're kind of cool. These are like kind of bendy, like rigid enough to like fully be good, but like not ever really worried about like breaking them or anything like that. Ashley makes fun of me for the tortoise shell. She feels like they're women's sunglasses, but I kind of feel like they're camouflage almost. Anyway, I kind of like the look, but they come in matte black as well for those that maybe feel that the tortoise is a little bit feminine. I won't judge you. And these are kind of hard to tell. These ones have the mirror finish. They have a bunch of different lens options, gray, brown, smoked, this, gloss, whatever. So these are just my favorite sunglasses. They fit my face really well. I kind of have an Asian face, so I usually get Asian fit sunglasses, like Oakley makes some Asian fits. These fit me. I have really long eyelashes, small nose, kind of like big cheeks, and it's makes sunglasses kind of weird. These fit me perfectly. So if you have that kind of Asian-y fit face, these will work with you even though they're not Asian fit. If you have a bigger head, they do make these in the XLs as well, the Explorer XLs. These are just the regular Explorers. Really my favorite sunglasses. Check them out if you're into it. Magpul actually makes a bunch of different models. It's got impact rated glasses. I always try to protect my eyes, man. I talk about eyes being, LASIK being like a super good prep if you have bad eyesight, but protecting your eyes is so important. So anytime I'm using anything, angle grinder, saws, whatever, I'm always wearing eye protection. And I wear sunglasses a lot. It's because it also protects you from UV rays as well, but you just basically have eye protection all the time. So actually I make it a point to wear sunglasses pretty much whenever I can for the protective element from everything. And, you look cool. So, yeah. And then I'll wear a hat or a beanie. I have a beanie on right now, but this is my favorite hat. I just love flex fits. Love Flex Fits because I don't cut my hair as often as I should. And this is, I wear the same hat whether I have like a giant head of hair or just got it trimmed or if I shaved my head or whatever. So Flex Fits are by far my favorite. I have a little bit of a smaller head, so I wear a small to medium. But basically what I did for all of my LLOD merch was just find my absolute favorite whatever, and then work with a local embroidery shop to put my logo on it. So these are just, the Flex Fits are by far my favorite hat. I actually just got some, they have some multicam Flex Fit mesh backs just now, so I'm actually getting those embroidered, hopefully this or next week, so I'll have those up on the site soon. But this is my absolutely favorite hat ever, of all time. So I wear it all the time, not because I'm sporting my logo, but definitely feel free to buy this, would love that. It's just my favorite hat. As with all things that I work into my regiment, it just works. It just works. And then one other random thing that I use every single day, it's actually my most used item of anything that I own, is a water bottle. I try to stay really hydrated, I drink a lot of water, and this is just the best thing to do it in, honestly. And I have some great sponsors, Dometic and Pelican, and they make awesome water bottles, and I use them from time to time for the insulation stuff. But this just, nothing beats the ease of use of this. I don't know, this is kind of a weird camera angle. But basically, every other bottle you need 2 hands to unscrew it, right? So, sorry, my focus is having some trouble here. But every other bottle you need 2 hands to open it up. And then if you open it up, it has a pretty wide mouth, and it'll splash all over you. So I do a lot of driving, obviously, and I want a water bottle that when I'm drinking out of, it's not splashing all over my face if I hit a bump or whatever. So the nice thing about this is 2 things. One-handed operation, so it has like this safety latch here, which I'll pop on usually, but you don't, I mean, I use it pretty much all the time, but you don't actually need it. If I'm just like drinking on my desk, I'll usually pop this on when I'm traveling and throw it in a bag, throw it in my car or whatever, so it doesn't pop open and spill everywhere. And that's super secure. I've never had that fail on me. But when I'm just like drinking around the house or whatever, all it is this, and you push this button and you pop it open and you drink. And the nice thing is drinking out of this little hole here means no splash. It means that you can drink very easily on bumpy roads or whatever. And the one-handed operation means you can just whoop, ready to go, ready to take a drink, put it away. And again, like I just mentioned with a hat, I just love things that just work. And this thing, man, it just works. So this is a Nalgene bottle and the OTF lid. I think you can get whatever. Everyone has Nalgene bottles, so it's a standardized size. This will fit on. Nalgene does sell a water bottle that comes with this, but I don't ever like those water bottles. I like these, the 32 ounce or the bigger ones, the 48 ounce or whatever they are. This is what I drink out of the most. It's just a great, I've been drinking out of them for years. You know, they're all BPA free and stuff now. But you buy the lid separately. They come in a bunch of colors, and screw it on. So just, I don't know. It's weird that I'm so amped about a water bottle, but this is like game changer water bottle. I'll link it down below. Cool, so now we'll get into some miscellaneous crap, and we'll get into like a bunch of knives and stuff here in a second. One other thing I use all the time, honestly, is an iPad. What's funny is that I'm actually an Android fanboy, but finally just started using the Apple ecosystem because I use a MacBook also. All my friends are on Apple, so iMessage is nice. And then so I got an iPad. Now I use my iPad all the time. And I use it with the Magic Keyboard here, right? So it's this like keyboard that's kind of elevated or whatever. And again, it's just stuff that just works well. So you pop it off. This has a little case. It's like a Pitaka, I think. I don't know. I'll link it down below. But has the pencil if you want to use it. Has a little bit of protection with this case here. This like really nice carbon fiber case. I put a different plate on the back because I use magnets everywhere. I stick this up, and I watch shows or YouTube videos or whatever, and I use the iPad and tablet. I consume a lot of information. I research stuff. I have PDFs on here, books or YouTube videos, or I watch Netflix or whatever. So I use the tablet all the time. What I find is when I hook it up to the keyboard, this is like my email writing machine. This keyboard's surprisingly good. I write a lot of emails. And when I'm on my desktop or on my laptop, I get distracted by doing a lot of other stuff. And the weird kind of like inferior iOS nature where it doesn't multitask all that great kind of helps me write emails faster because I'm not distracted with all these multiple tabs open and a big old monitor. So I kind of like using this. And then I just put a skin on it to kind of protect it. a little bit. So when I'm talking about stuff that just works, again, I don't care what you buy, I don't care what you use, but for me, the iPad Pro, this is the 12.9, for my workflows, just works so well. So I figured I'd throw it in for just gear that works. And then because we like the camo here on the channel, things that just work since I'm part of the Apple ecosystem. I am one of those idiots that spent way too much on headphones. Also got protective skin on here. But this just seamlessly switching between the iPad and the iPhone and my MacBook and just the excellent noise canceling nature of it. I opted for these and I use these every day. Use these every day. So this is a thin little case. Just got it from Amazon. It's pretty cheap, like $20, but probably the best case for the whatever, the AirPod Maxes or Pros or whatever these stupid ones are. And another cool thing, you don't see me use it that much, honestly, because I have a lot of other headlamps I like a lot more. But this is one I just toss into bags or whatever because it's so small. This is the Petzl Zipka. They've been making it for years. I mean, when I was into backpacking a decade or more ago, they had the Petzl Zipka, and basically nothing has changed about it. I feel like this is like kind of a dated thing, even though finally they added this like janky rechargeable system where you got to open and plug it into a micro USB. I don't know. I feel like they're kind of behind the curve, but it is unique in that it's so compact. It doesn't have the bulkiness of the Band-In, and it expands to whatever. So if you're wearing a beanie or a hat or a helmet or whatever, it expands. If you want to put it on your wrist or something for some reason, you can. So this is just a Petzl Zipka, and it has I forget the operations exactly, 3 brightnesses, and I think if you hold it, you get to your red mode as well. So yeah, I like things that just work. And this stupid kind of outdated thing, it just works. Okay, that was enough of the random stuff. Now we're getting into what you kind of gear guys, I'm sure, care more about. So we'll talk about some flashlights. Olight hater or not, you cannot deny the functionality of this flashlight. It reigns supreme. It's the king of flashlights. And I have a lot of flashlights. So I have like dozens and dozens and dozens of flashlights. And I don't say that to brag. I just say that to say I could, again, Olay doesn't pay me to use this flashlight. I use it by choice. But I have like some really great flashlights. And I have others. These are just kind of the ones I grabbed off the top. So this is the newer model of the Olight. I just grabbed the ones that I think are really good as well. And this isn't one that I think is good. I think this one actually kind of sucks. It's an LED lenser. But I'm bringing it just to show you that I try stuff that people recommend just to try it out. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe this isn't the best. So I'll try some other stuff out. And so I buy some flashlights once in a while. And this is one that's just, it's not. Some people recommended it to me, but it's not. Doesn't have a tail cap. Doesn't have anything. Like, it's kind of delayed turning on. I don't know if you can hear that, but this is when I click it, and then it turns on. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of lights out there that I think people think are good, but they haven't tried all the lights I have. So this one's a fail. I don't recommend that one, but all these ones are pretty good. So this is the Surefire, the kind of weird looking one. And this is probably the closest. This is the other light that I carry sometimes. So this is kind of the closest light that is relatively comparable. It is USB. It's a micro USB. If it was a USB-C, it'd be a little bit better. But Surefire makes awesome lights. They have this one. This is a cheaper one, and then they have the aluminum one, which is a little more expensive, a little better. But what I like, again, are similarly to why I like the Olight Warrior Mini 2. Tactile applications, full brightness from the tail. Very nice. It is momentary only on the tail cap, so you can also get to strobe modes. This one I think has some strobe modes too, but I never use them. I think triple click. Maybe not. Maybe I disabled it? I don't know. I never use it anyway. But it has strobe mode and regular momentary, but this also has admin modes, so you can switch through to the different brightnesses, and it's nice. I like lights that aren't just pure hardcore tactical only all the way. So this is like probably one of the closest substitutes to this. Both really good options here. And then we have a couple Surefires. This is the Tactician. This is kind of just a no nonsense light. What I like about the Tactician versus the C1L or 2Ls is the lens portion. The head is a little bit thinner, a little bit more low profile, and it is a head up. I prefer flashlights with lens up carry, because then you just know if it's accidentally on versus it just being on in your pocket. So the Olight is light up. This one is light up, and the Tactician is light up. So I like this light, but it doesn't quite have enough admin functionality for me. This is the light I really do like, the EDC1 or the EDC L1T. They have a 2T as well, which is basically two CR123s, and it's relatively small, but the thing is the Olight is quite a bit more powerful and just a little bit smaller and has more functionality. But this is nice because, like I mentioned earlier, you press it down a little bit and it has the low light mode. So if you just need a low light, and then you press it all the way and it has high output mode. So I like that, just kind of like dummy proof, like, oh, I need light. And that works. And then it screws for the full time on. So it has the full time on low and the full time on high as well. So really good option if you want a made in America light that are just bomb proof. But again, I just think don't quite have the features as this one, but really good light. And then the Defender 2L, which is even kind of more no nonsense, kind of has more protection around the tail switch. Good light here, and then some little lights. I actually really like this. Isn't it? This was actually a gift from Diamondback. This is the old MicroStream. You can kind of hack these with putting the 14500 lithiums in. You get a little more output out of them. By default, they don't have a ton of output, but for most people, this will be nice. For me, living in the mountains where it's like my dog runs outside and I want to see if it's a mountain lion or not, I like that amount of brightness versus that. Like, you could probably tell on camera, but a very small compact light. If you're like, I'm not sure if I'm like tactical enough to carry like a bigger light, then this is like a nice first step, the Streamlight MicroStream. I also have the USB version, which I like a little better, USB charger. This is just a AAA, but they have a USB one, which is better, but I lost it somehow. So you can put lithiums or different lithiums in here to kind of change the output a little bit, but kind of a nice, small, no nonsense, not intimidating light. So if you're like just getting into carrying a flashlight, then this is a good option. Olight makes a comparable one as well, like almost the same. And I believe it is also just a regular AAA you can use in here, but I think the Olight has a little bit more battery flexibility, and I do like the tail cap on the Olight a little bit better. And the Olight has two modes, a low and a high. But two options. Again, Streamlight's awesome company, primarily made in the US as well. Olights are made in China, but they're a little cheaper and they got some pretty good features. So those are some light options for you. And then I've also wanted to try and find a replacement for the Skeletal, simply because I like gear, I like new things, and I've used this for so long. I'm like, certainly there has to be something better out there. SOG made a little one that like looked pretty cool. It had like this weird kind of like ratcheting pliers. I forget what it was called, but I broke it. I bought it to test it out because it's like, oh, this is a cool, like it, checks a lot of the boxes of the Skeletal checks and it might be sweet. I bought it and I broke it in the first week, honestly. So that was kind of disheartening, considering I've just abused the crap out of this for 7 years and it just keeps on trucking. To break the other one the first week, it kind of killed it for me. And then I want to try this. This is a similar one, kind of checked a lot of the boxes, has a little pocket clip, like relatively small. It's a little chunkier. It's kind of a chunky boy. This is a little more like streamlined and elegant. But this is the Gerber Crucial. I bought this guy, and I like to try trips out. Like I told you before, I bought this. I shipped it to myself so I could have it when I flew somewhere and I didn't feel like checking a bag. I do that with things I want to try out. So I bought this one on Amazon, shipped it to myself, used it for a little bit, and it just falls short of the Skeletal, honestly. Kind of has a shorter, stubbier, fatter knife. That's fine. I mean, it would do pretty much everything I needed it to do. The Leatherman Skeletal bottle opener is just so good. The Gerber has a bottle opener as well. You got to open it. It's kind of this thing. It doesn't work quite as good, but it's not bad. And then it doesn't have the bit changing functionality of the Skeletal, which is a huge thing for the Skeletal. But this does have a Phillips, and it does have a flathead as well. So you do have some pretty good functionality there, and then it's got the pliers naturally. So I have tried out this tool, just didn't, I don't know, just feels like an inferior product to me. Not quite as comfortable in the hand when you're using the pliers, but you know, it's another option. You know, if you're like a Gerber fanboy and you hate Leatherman or something, this will check a lot of the boxes of the Skeletool. But if you're not a multi-tool guy, like if you're not a do-it-yourselfer, you're not fixing stuff, you call, you know, an electrician to change a light bulb or whatever, then a multi-tool might not be for you. And you might just want a knife. And there's a lot of reasons to just carry a knife over a multi-tool maybe, but these are some of my favorite folder knives. And you've seen these because I try out a lot of knives. I just have like a basket full of knives, and these ones kind of just continue to stay at the top. The ZT Sinkovich, I just really like it. It's small, streamlined, high quality, good materials, and it carries really nicely in the pocket. So these are just like nice utilitarian kind of knives, and this one carries probably almost the best out of them. Benchmade makes a few, the bail out, the bug out, everything. This one's just kind of cool because I like when it just adds a little bit of extra features, and this one has a glass breaker built in without really adding bulk. Super slim, super streamlined. Benchmade makes some pretty good knives. Then I have Spidey's, man. So these are made in Colorado, and I love, you've heard me talk about it. I love the Yojimbo too. And this was like a limited run. I wish I bought more of it because this one's so nice that I try not to beat it up. Like most of my stuff I just beat up, you know, throw across the room, whatever. But this one I try to keep like relatively nice. I don't carry it a whole lot, but it's just, sometimes I want to just carry a knife for the fun factor, for just like, oh, you know, I just want to remind myself how cool the knife is. And the Yojimbo is one of those knives. And same with the PM2. The Paramilitary 2 is just a legendary Spyderco knife. And this was, again, another limited edition run, but they make these in several colors. Good knives. They're a little chunkier, a little thicker, a little bigger than I kind of like to carry in an EDC knife. So this is really more of a knife guy's knife. Like, you gotta really like your knife to make room in your pockets for this one. This is a really cool one. So Magpul, this is the Magpul Rigger EDC. They made a few limited run knives that were just gorgeous, and they were expensive, like $400 some. And they were limited, so naturally they're going to be more expensive. They brought this one more to the mainstream. I believe it's just over $200. So still it's a pretty expensive knife by my standard and most people's standard, but it is really nice. This handle is extremely lightweight, but the blade is Wharncliffe style blade, which I just love. I love the Warnies. I love them. This is a little more of an extreme Wharncliffe, but I like Wharncliffes. So it has that kind of blade profile and just thick chunky boy, and it just looks cool. And I really like knives with the little back flip open portion. I forget what that's called. I don't geek out on terminology really, but really nice knife, really cool looking pocket clip. And one thing that's kind of sets this knife apart, Cricut or CRKT, people don't like when I say Cricut, knives have kind of these locking liners, not this same mechanism, but a similar functionality. So this has a locking liner. So that way, basically this turns it somewhat, you know, into a fixed blade in that it can't accidentally close on you while that lock is engaged. So this is a cool knife. This would, if I just carried a knife, it would probably be this knife right now. This is probably my favorite of just kind of the folders, the utilitarian folders. Sweet knife. Now, I wasn't really going to talk about fixed blades, but I figured I would. I have a ton of knives, so these are not like, I didn't just like grab every knife I own. These are like kind of, I purposefully grabbed these ones to kind of show you some stuff. One is Spyderco. I don't know if you know it. This isn't a made in US knife, but they make basically the non-folder Yojimbo. It's more of a cleaver at this point. It's a pretty chunky boy. It's a pretty big knife. But I bought that just because I love the Yojimbo so much. I've never used this knife for anything. But fixed blades fall into a few categories, and I have a bunch of like bushcraft fixed blade knives. These aren't them. These are all what I would consider self-defense knives. So I don't typically carry a self-defense knife. My self-defense is a pistol. It's the best self-defense tool. Sometimes a pistol isn't quite the answer, but there are very few scenarios where the knife is a better answer than the pistol. So instead of carrying a whole bat belt on my body and carrying my skeletal, which I do use every day, and then carrying a fixed blade, and then carrying a gun, I usually just carry my skeletal and my gun. For a while, you guys, if you guys kind of OGs, I made these sheaths for myself, and they attached to my holsters. And they basically made this setup, which kind of looks redonkulous, right? Like, holy cow, how could you ever fit that in your pants? But trust me, this is like so comfortable, and it fit really nicely. And the idea behind this, now I sit at home and don't do anything. But before, maybe I was in sketchy neighborhoods more or something. Maybe not, I don't know. But I liked this setup because I could go to my gun with my right hand, and I could go to my blade with my left hand. In a pinch, I could also access this with my right hand if I really, really just needed to go to a knife. So having one thing that I had to put on in the morning and never carry anything else was really nice. So that's why I developed this whole system. This is with the K-Bar TDI. So still a cool option. I decided to go a little more minimal, and so I removed it. But still, if you watch my old videos, you'll see this setup maybe, or old photos on Instagram. And it was a really clever, really good setup for those guys that just need it all. Because again, if I'm scuffling with someone and they have my right hand, or I just can't access it, but I have my left hand, I can get this, slash them up, create a little bit of distance, and then get to my gun. So it's a cool setup, but it's just, you know, felt a little too much for me maybe, and I just streamlined. Having said that, I do really like the K-Bar. So for me, unless you have spent like 50 years doing defensive knife training, you're just gonna get messed up with a knife. It's not a smart thing to try and deploy. Nobody can really argue that. Anybody who really knows about knives will tell you the same. It's easier, honestly, to get good with a gun than get good with a knife. So for me, I just want dummy-proof knives. So something like the K-Bar TDI, it's like there's really only one way to grab it. You can kind of fight regular, you can punch, you can do whatever, you can grab it this way if you want. And it's not really, you don't need a whole lot of technique to use it relatively effectively. Those are the kind of knives I like. So the K-Bar TDI is pretty high on the list. I have a bunch of them. And then I toyed around with some of these smaller guys for a while, some of these little ones. And these are other ones that I also made little custom sheaths for to kind of do what the K-Bar TDI did, but ultimately the K-Bar TDI was just the best one for me. There's some smaller knives here though, and they're kind of cool, and they're kind of just random things, but eventually I got to the point where I'm like, these small knives are just gonna do more bad than good. They're not gonna help my situation enough. Really, again, I'm not going to get too into defensive knives, but poking little holes in people doesn't do a whole lot when you're in immediate life-threatening danger. That's why I kind of prefer the more slashy ones, because those can do some damage to you. But I carry like this one for a little bit, and then I toyed with some. This is like a full carbon fiber one, so this is like, you know, you wanted to go through metal detectors or whatever, you could. So I have some of these just for fun. SOG makes this one, which I like way less than what I should. It's just like doesn't really, it's just not, I mean, whatever. Again, not a hardcore fixed blade knife fighter guy, but this one just doesn't work for me. And then K-Bar makes another one. I was like, I really like the TDI, and this is like a mini TDI. This is the last ditch. This is like a tiny little knife, but again, it's just like really awkward to hold in the hand, easy to just like flip up and end up cutting myself. I don't know. It's not really for me, but if you need a microscopic toothpick knife, then maybe this. There's some other ones. I really like the idea, again, of karambits, because they're just kind of no nonsense. You can continue your normal fighting, and then you just have a knife to do a little extra damage. So I toyed with some of them. And then again, this is like a push dagger, but this one is like an all plastic one. I was just, you know, I like to mess around with things and try them out. So push daggers, again, kind of nice. You just like punch or whatever, and they're just kind of, you don't have to think about them. There's other knives that are really nice. Again, they fall into the same realm. This one was Cerakoted by Mad Customs in like a multicam black finish. It's like a custom one. But this is the Colonel. And again, same concept, just easy knife to use, you know, and I like them. I like the easy to use knives. And both the kernel, you can get a trainer. You can get a trainer for it. So that's really important if you're gonna be practicing different stuff. I forget, yeah, I didn't like the kernel trainer because it didn't fit into the sheath. And a big part of me for training firearms and knives is practicing deploying effectively, so with different clothes and different everything. So I really like when there's a trainer available, especially for knives, because you can get stupid and cut yourself pretty easy training with a knife. So this is nice because you can still train the grip and the handle and the actions and everything, but as you can see, it's not quite as long, so it's not quite as effective for training. But I only do that to segue into the Sock P. Now this is actually the new one. This is the mini Sock P. And I like this one too because it looks kind of big, but it just goes right in. If you conceal it, IWB, it just goes away and just disappears in there. And it's just kind of easy to deploy. Basically you get your finger through this and you pull up. And then it's out. And I don't like this knife as much. It's not as simple. It doesn't work into your regular fighting routine as effectively as some of these other knives. But it is easy to deploy, it's small, and it's just kind of a no-nonsense. The thing I like about the Sock Ps is they do have an effective trainer. And again, I think if you are gonna take fixed blade knife fighting more seriously, you do need a trainer to train with. So I like when there's fixed blade options that have trainer options available, and the Benchmade Sock P does. So all of these are options. Again, I don't typically carry a fixed blade, but again, I just kind of live in rural land. If I was walking through Detroit every night, then I probably would up my EDC game a little bit. But I'm a pretty practical guy again, and don't really do much. I guess a lot of people ask me about my watch. So they're like, why don't you wear a real man's watch, or blah, 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 or have a diver or this or that. And again, it's function and practicality. So I have this watch face set up. So I have time, I have date, I have day of the week, I have elevation on here, I have forecast, which is if you live in the mountains, you realize that you look at your forecast all the time. So I have temp on here, high, lows, obviously, and it'll show if there's precipitation in the forecast. I use the workout functions, so heart rate monitors and all that stuff quite a bit. And I also like to know if the moon is going to be bright or not bright that night. I kind of, can tactically plan or just out of curiosity know if I'm going to have a lot of light outside naturally or not. I use Siri a lot. I ask questions. I set reminders. I look at my calendar. So functionally, this just does more than any other watch out there. And that is why I use an Apple Watch instead of a real man's watch. And the band is actually just one that Apple sold for a while. And again, this is another one where it's just function. Just off, and on. Very easily. Tighten it up, if I want it really tight, if I'm really need a good heart rate monitor, if I want to loosen it up a little bit, if I want to switch arms, and I kind of go from right hand to left hand fairly often or whatever. So Apple Watch, I use a ton of the features on the Apple Watch. It's a little mini computer. I don't like to have I try not to be on my phone as much. I'm actually trying to get my screen time down way more. So I can reply to texts on my watch and do kind of everything I need on my watch, and I'm not tempted to scroll through Instagram or waste my time. So I don't know. That's just the watch. Yeah. Okay, guys, that was it. As always, if you have recommendations, if you're like, man, you really need to check out this flashlight, you really need to check out this light, you really need to check out this whatever piece of kit, let me know, because, again, I like new gear, and if there's something that fits me better than what I'm using right now, I will absolutely switch and use it. So let me know. Let me know down below. I also like to hear, I've heard so many times that people are like, oh, I got a scale tool because of you and it changed my life, or your holsters are the best. I like hearing that stuff. So let me know that stuff too. Cool. All right. Well, it was a fun little chat. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking to the end. Hit that thumbs up button. Get subscribed. All that other jazz. And until next time, take care.